I'm Emily, 35. At the family party, I found my daughter's head shaved. My sister laughed. It's a joke. If you've ever had to stand up against family for your child at age 35, share your story in the comments. In the year 2025, during that annual family get-together at my mother's place in the outer suburbs of Chicago, everything came crashing down in a way I never expected. The house was the same spacious colonial where my sister and I had grown up, complete with its familiar backyard and the old swing set that had weathered 25 years of play. But that day marked the end of pretending our family ties were unbreakable. Let me back up a bit. My name is Emily, and at 35, I've spent the last 5 years as a devoted single mom to my 8-year-old daughter, Sophie. Since my divorce from Michael in 2020, life hasn't been simple, but we've carved out a cozy, affectionate routine in our modest 2-bedroom home nearby with its small front garden and the gentle tinkling of wind chimes on the porch. Sophie is my everything, a gentle, creative spirit who loves sketching ballerinas and had been letting her stunning, long blonde hair grow out since she was 4. That hair was her signature. She'd toss it over her shoulder when feeling accomplished or twist a strand while deep in thought. It flowed like a golden cascade, and her face would light up at any praise it drew. My bond with my younger sister, Rebecca, now 32, has always been tangled. 3 years behind me, she existed in this odd mix of looking up to me and holding grudges. As kids, she'd sneak my outfits, mimic my looks, and even pursue guys I'd mentioned liking. Yet her so-called fun often crossed into meanness. When I was 16, around 2006, she snipped holes into my prom gown the evening before the event. At 20, about 2010, she spread false stories to my college partner about me being unfaithful, which ended things between us. Even on my wedding day, she managed to splash red wine across my gown mid-photos, insisting it was accidental, while her grin told another story. Each incident, our mother Eleanor, now 65, would brush off. "Don't make a fuss," she'd say. "Rebecca's only teasing. You know she cares about you." My father, Robert, typically kept quiet in these squabbles, avoiding the fray between his spouse and us girls. That pattern held firm for 3 decades. Ever since Sophie arrived, I'd grown wary of taking her to these reunions, but I'd always given convinced she needed those connections to her grandparents, aunt and cousins, Ethan and Mia, who were 10 and 7. Despite the history, I wanted Sophie to experience her extended relatives. The evening prior to this gathering, I devoted a full hour to weaving her hair into a detailed braid design she'd seen in a publication. She perched patiently on her small purple seat, babbling about, displaying the braids to her cousins and the handmade friendship bands she'd crafted for them. "Will Aunt Rebecca think my hair is pretty too?" she inquired with pure innocence. I paused, recalling how at the previous Thanksgiving, Rebecca had unintentionally dribbled cranberry sauce onto Sophie's beloved white festive outfit. Or at Christmas, when she presented Ethan and Mia with pricey gaming setups while giving Sophie just a simple coloring pad, her eyes scanning for my response with barely concealed glee. "Everyone will say, 'You look lovely,'" I responded, sidestepping the direct query. "And remember our talk, if something feels off, find me immediately okay." "Okay, Mommy," she agreed with a grave nod. "But it'll be great." Ethan said he'd let me see his new tree fort. Gazing at her eager expression in the reflection, her gaze sparkling with excitement, I suppressed my doubts. Certainly, Rebecca wouldn't aim her antics at an 8-year-old. This year, I vowed to ignore any sly remarks or subtle jabs that might spoil our time. How mistaken I was. The journey to my mother's home took 45 minutes, with Sophie belting out her top tunes throughout. Eleanor and Robert resided in that enduring colonial balloons adorning the mailbox and a banner proclaiming the family event overhead. My mom adored her decorations. As we approached the driveway, Sophie spotted Robert at the back patio grill and squealed Grandpa. He turned his lined face, breaking into a warm grin. Despite his reluctance in family disputes, Robert truly cherished his granddaughter. "Here's my little bird," he called, setting aside his tools for a big embrace. "Look at that gorgeous hair. Did Mommy do it?" "Yep, a whole hour," Sophie declared proudly, spinning to showcase the braids. "Worth every minute." "You're a real princess," he replied, then gave me a quick hug. "Glad you're here, Emily. Your mom's inside with the starters." My aunt, Susan Eleanor's sister at 60, emerged from the kitchen with lemonade. She offered a sympathetic glance, aware of my hesitation about these occasions. "Emily, you look great," she said, placing the tray down for a hug. "And Sophie, those braids are stunning. Aunt Susan, I made this for you, Sophie said, pulling a vibrant beaded bracelet from her bag. It's perfect, I'll put it on now, Susan responded with true warmth. The yard buzzed with relatives, cousins chatting in groups, kids of all ages dashing around the ancient oak. Sophie quickly found Ethan and Mia splashing with water pistols by the flowers. Mom, can I join them? She asked, hopping impatiently. Sure, but watch your nice outfit, I called as she dashed off. Susan looped her arm in mine. Let's grab you a refreshment. You seem like you need it. Inside, Eleanor arranged snacks on her finest dish, her hair still that signature blonde shade she'd kept for 30 years. Her welcome smile didn't quite touch her eyes. Emily, finally. I was starting to wonder. We aimed for noon, Mom. It's 12:15, I said, pecking her cheek. Well, good, you made it. Rebecca messaged they're delayed. Jason had a work thing. She adjusted her patterned apron. Sophie's outside. With Ethan and Mia. They're growing so quick, she sighed. Ethan's in advanced math, you know. Mia just took a gymnastics prize. I nodded, accustomed to the spotlight on my niece and nephew, while Sophie's ballet successes or reading prowess went unmentioned. The following hour flowed smoothly, mingling with kin I seldom saw, soaking in updates and light chatter. Around 1:30, the door swung open to Rebecca's voice, echoing, "Hello all, the fun begins now." She entered with her usual flair, as if spotlight blonde hair, expensively styled in designer pants, and a top likely pricier than my whole ensemble. Jason trailed with a cake box, appearing frazzled. Emily, Rebecca acknowledged, coolly air-kissing near my face. Nice dress. Knew the query seemed harmless, but I caught the undertone about its origin. Good to see you, I replied, skipping the bait. Hi, Jason. Jason, the reserved accountant who often looked bewildered by his dominant wife, smiled awkwardly. Emily, likewise. Where for the cake, Eleanor swooped in, handling the box like treasure. Rebecca got it from that upscale bakery in central Chicago. $250, but she wanted the best. So considerate. I managed a grin as they dove in to talk of Rebecca's yard redo. Jason headed for a drink, leaving me with Susan. Business as usual, she whispered, drawing my first real smile since arriving. The kids rushed in from the back, Sophie leading. Her cheeks flushed with joy. Mom, Ethan has a new game upstairs. Can I go? Before I could reply, Rebecca appeared, hands on Ethan's shoulders. Oh yes, he's eager to share his video setup. All the children are heading up. Her gaze landed on Sophie's hair, a flicker crossing her features. Such fancy braids. Someone's vying for the spotlight. Sophie picked the style, I said steadily. She's excited to show it off. I'm sure Rebecca replied tightly. Up you go, kids. Mia can lead Sophie. Is it fine, Mom Sophie checked. Part of me wanted to refuse, keep her close, but with eyes on us, I didn't want to appear overly cautious, and I hoped for cousin bonds. Have fun, sweetie. I watched her, bound away Rebecca's look following with an unreadable edge. For the next 30 minutes, I eased a touch, joining discussions on current events, films, and kin news. Robert shared a fishing tale when I saw Rebecca slip upstairs. A twinge of worry hit, but I dismissed it as her checking the kids. I should have trusted that gut feeling. Flashback to my teen and early adult years brought back the roots of our family's strained dynamics, tying directly into the unease I felt leading up to that fateful gathering in 2025. Those memories weren't just distant echoes. They shaped why I hesitated about exposing Sophie to the same environment I'd navigated for so long. Back when I was 16, around 2006, Rebecca's antics first showed their sharper edge. I'd spent weeks picking out my prom dress, excited for the dance. But the night before, I discovered holes clipped into the fabric, deliberate cuts that ruined it. Rebecca claimed innocence, but her smirk gave her away. Eleanor dismissed my upset. You're blowing this out of proportion. She's just fooling around. Robert, as usual, said nothing, letting the tension fade without resolution. By 20 and 2000, 10 things escalated during my college days. I was dating a guy I really liked, sharing laughs and plans for the future. Then Rebecca whispered lies to him about me stepping out with someone else. He believed her, and we broke up. Again, Eleanor downplayed it. Sisters tease each other. She loves you deep down. Robert stayed on the sidelines, unwilling to mediate. Even my wedding day wasn't spared. As the photographer captured moments, Rebecca accidentally knocked red wine onto my gown, staining the white silk. She apologized profusely in front of everyone, but I caught that hidden satisfaction in her eyes. Eleanor waved it off as a mishap, urging me to focus on the joy. The pattern was clear. Rebecca's blend of admiration and resentment drove her to undermine me, especially when I received attention. These weren't isolated. They built a history of her borrowing my clothes without asking, copying my hairstyles, and chasing boys I'd shown interest in. But the pranks crossed into cruelty, what others might call outright sabotage. Our family dynamic hadn't shifted in 30 years, Eleanor minimizing Robert's silence and me swallowing the hurt to keep peace. Fast forward to after my divorce from Michael in 2020. The split wasn't amicable at first, but we worked through it for Sophie's sake. Michael remained minimally involved, especially after moving to Portland 6 months before the party in 2025, but we managed with video calls and summer plans. In those 5 years, Sophie and I created a stable, loving space. She thrived as a sensitive artist, her long blonde hair becoming a source of pride. I'd watch her flip it confidently or twirl it thoughtfully, beaming at compliments. Yet Rebecca's shadow lingered. At last year's Thanksgiving, she spilled cranberry sauce on Sophie's favorite white holiday dress. At Christmas, expensive gaming systems for Ethan and Mia contrasted with Sophie's simple coloring book, Rebecca, watching my reaction with that veiled triumph. When Sophie innocently asked if Aunt Rebecca would like her braids, I hesitated, memories flooding back. I told her, I'm sure everyone will think you look beautiful, avoiding specifics. Just remember, if anything makes you uncomfortable, come to me right away. Her serious nod reassured me temporarily. Okay, Mommy, but it'll be fun. Ethan promised the tree fort. Pushing aside the concerns, I focused on her excitement. Surely Rebecca wouldn't target a child. This year, I promised myself no letting subtle digs ruin the day. How wrong that assumption proved. The preparations for the gathering stirred a mix of anticipation and underlying caution, rooted in the family's long-standing patterns that I'd worked hard to distance myself from in recent years. In our cozy home with its small garden and porch wind chimes, I focused on creating positive moments for Sophie, even as memories of past tensions loomed. The night prior, I invested a full hour braiding Sophie's hair into an elaborate pattern she'd spotted in a magazine. She sat steadily on her little purple stool, chatting eagerly about revealing the braids to her cousins and the friendship bracelets she'd made for them. Her innocence shone through as she asked if Aunt Rebecca would approve of her look too. I faltered briefly, recalling incidents like the cranberry sauce accident on her favorite dress at last Thanksgiving, or the uneven gifts at Christmas, lavish gaming systems for Ethan and Mia, a mere coloring book for Sophie with Rebecca. Eyeing my response smugly, everyone will find you stunning, I said, evading the specifics. And recall our discussion, if anything feels wrong, come straight to me. Got it, Mommy, she nodded earnestly. But it'll be enjoyable. Ethan mentioned his new tree fort. Her bright gaze in the mirror pushed my worries aside. Rebecca surely wouldn't direct her barbs at a child. This time, I resolved to let no veiled slights mar our day. The 45-minute drive to the outer Chicago suburbs, filled with Sophie singing, felt routine yet charged. My parents' colonial home unchanged since our childhood greeted us with a driveway packed with vehicles. Balloons decorated the mailbox, a banner hung above the door, Eleanor's touch for flair. Sophie spied Robert at the back patio grill and exclaimed, Grandpa. He set down his tongs, his weathered features softening into a sincere smile. Though he shied from conflicts, his affection for Sophie was genuine. My butterfly, he greeted, lifting her into a hug. That hair is beautiful. Mommy's work? A whole hour, she proclaimed, twirling to display. Well spent. Princess material, he affirmed, then sighed and hugged me. Good to have you, Emily. Mom's prepping appetizers inside. Susan appeared with a lemonade tray, her 60-year-old presence, a steadying force. She gave me a knowing look, understanding my reservations. You look wonderful, Emily, she said, embracing me after setting the tray. Sophie, teach me those braids sometime. Aunt Susan, here's your gift, Sophie offered, handing over a colorful beaded bracelet from her backpack. Beautiful on it goes, Susan replied appreciatively. The backyard hummed with relatives' cousins, clustered in conversations, children racing around the old oak. Sophie soon joined Ethan and Mia by the flower beds with their water guns. Mom, may I play, she bounced. Of course, but mind your clothes, I called as she ran off. Susan linked arms with me. Come, a drink might help. Indoors, Eleanor arranged cheese and crackers on her best platter, her blonde hair, the same hue for 30 years. Her smile lacked warmth as we entered. Emily, there you are. Thought you might skip. Noon was the plan, Mom. 12:15 now, I noted, kissing her cheek. Glad you came, Rebecca's late Jason's work call. She smoothed her floral apron. Sophie's here, outside with the kids. They grow fast, she sighed. Ethan's in advanced math, Mia won gymnastics regionals. I was used to these highlights with no queries about Sophie's ballet or reading achievements. The hour passed, amiably catching up on family news. At 1:30, Rebecca's voice rang out. Everyone, the party's here. She swept in, dramatically highlighted blonde in pricey cut designer jeans and blouse outshining my attire. Jason followed with the cake box looking worn. Emily, she nodded coolly, air kissing. Love the dress. Recent buy, the implications stung, but I ignored it. Nice to see you. Hi, Jason. Jason smiled awkwardly. You too, Emily. The cake, Eleanor took it reverently. From Central Chicago's French bakery, $250, but Rebecca insisted, thoughtful. I forced a smile as they discussed her landscaping. Jason excused himself for a beer, leaving me with Susan. Same as ever, she muttered, eliciting my genuine grin. The children burst in Sophie ahead. Mom, Ethan's got a new upstairs game. Okay to go. Rebecca positioned behind, hands on Ethan's shoulders. Yes, he's thrilled to show his video system. Kids upstairs. Her eyes fixed on Sophie's braids, something shifting. Elaborate braids. Sophie designed them, I said evenly, eager to share. Sure she is, Rebecca smiled tightly. Go on, Mia, can guide you, Sophie. Fine, Mom, Sophie asked. Instinct urged no, but observers made me relent, wanting her to connect. Enjoy, honey. As they ascended, Rebecca's gaze lingered oddly. For half an hour, I mingled on politics, movies, updates. Robert's fishing story flowed when Rebecca headed upstairs. Anise nodded, but I rationalized it as checking on that. As the afternoon wore on, a subtle shift in the atmosphere began to unsettle me, building on the quiet warnings I'd ignored earlier. The house felt oddly still for hosting several children upstairs, the usual thumps and giggles replaced by faint video game sounds drifting down. I was assisting Susan with dessert plates when her casual remark tightened my gut. Did Rebecca mention her recent purchase, electric hair clippers of all things? Said she'd trim Jason's hair at home to cut costs. Susan shook her head, odd given she dropped $250 on that cake. Never pegged her for thrifty. My hands paused on the dishes. Brand new clippers spotted in her purse. You all right, Emily? You've paled, Susan noted. Fine, I replied mechanically, thoughts racing. Just realized Sophie's been up there a while. I'll check. Susan nodded. Smart. Rebecca seems edgier today. Heading to the stairs, my cousin Laura pulled me aside. Heard about Rebecca's work issue, she whispered. What issue? Laura looked surprised. She got let go from the marketing firm last month, something about mishandling funds. Mom's been telling folks to hush it. This was new. Rebecca had posted about a promotion weeks ago. If fired for embezzlement, it explained her tension and Jason's discomfort. My phone buzzed with friend texts, but I ignored them, urgency rising to locate Sophie. In the living room, I overheard Eleanor in low tones with Uncle David. Rebecca's navigating a tough spot. That firm undervalued her. She's lining up better interviews. David seemed doubtful. Margaret, embezzlement claims aren't minor. Lawyer involved. A mix-up Eleanor insisted, spotting me. Emily, need something? Just checking, Sophie. Over an hour now. They're gaming fine. Dinner's soon, help with sides. In a bit. Passing Jason by the window with his beer, he averted eyes, heightening my concern. Upstairs, the hall was eerily quiet, save for game noises from Ethan's room. Peeking in, kids clustered around the TV, no Sophie. Seen Sophie, I asked? Ethan 10 barely glanced from his controller. Dunno. Maybe with Mia. His Dodge rang alarms. Guest room, empty old bedroom, now office vacant. Nearing the bathroom, faint sobs emerged from behind the closed door. Sophie, you in there, honey? The crying halted, a sniffle following. Go away, her voice broke small and shattered. Sweetie, it's Mom. Open up. No, don't want you seeing. Heart pounding, I pressed. Sophie, unlock now or I'll get Grandpa's key. What's the fuss? Rebecca's voice startled from behind, leaning on the wall, phone in hand, oddly smug. Sophie's distressed, I said curtly. What occurred? Kids being dramatic. She's okay. Then Mia emerged from the room, guilty-faced. Aunt Emily. Mia downstairs. Tell Grandma we're coming, Rebecca cut sharply. Something was off. Sophie, I'm entering now. The lock clicked after a pause. I pushed open, freezing in shock. My daughter stood shaking in the bathroom center, head fully shaved, uneven patches of stubble lingering. Blonde locks littered the tiles like defeated remnants. Her puffy red eyes met mine with profound shame and heartbreak, making me nauseous. "Mommy," she whispered, erupting in tears anew. I dropped to knees, enveloping her quivering form. "Oh God, Sophie, what happened? Who did this?" Behind Rebecca laughed. "So dramatic, Emily. Just hair grows back." I turned slowly, clutching Sophie. "You did this." My tone felt foreign. She needed a lesson in vanity. Everyone fawns over her precious locks. Rebecca stated flatly. Ethan and Mia held her while I gave a quick redo. "Got it all on video?" She showed the screen, Sophie's struggling arms pinned by cousins pleading as clippers buzzed, Rebecca chuckling, "Bye-bye, princess hair." By now, adults crowded the hall from the noise. Robert pushed forward, halting at the sight. "Lord, what have you done, Rebecca?" "Just a prank, Dad. Everyone's too sensitive." Some relatives gaped in dismay, others appallingly stifled grins, treating it as harmless fun instead of child assault. Eleanor arrived, irritated. "What's this upstairs dinner's cooling?" "See what your daughter did to Sophie." I trembled, turning her toward Eleanor. For a second, Eleanor looked stunned, then stiffened. "Not stylish, but it'll regrow." "Stop the fuss, it's unbecoming." "Unbecoming," I echoed incredulously. They restrained her and shaved her head as she begged. "She's scarred." "I've posted the video to our family chat," Rebecca announced proudly. "Hilarious." She wailed like we were harming her. Sophie hid her face in my shoulder, towel wrapped. "You recorded?" Robert asked, disbelieving. "Of course." Her expression priceless. Rebecca smirked then to Sophie. "Now, maybe folks notice more than your hair." There it was, raw envy in Rebecca's eyes toward my daughter, mirroring childhood glances at me during praise, but targeting a child, my child. "Ethan and Mia held her," I asked quietly, dangerously. They joined in. Rebecca shrugged. "Right, kids?" From the door, Ethan and Mia appeared unsure, sensing the line crossed. Mia teared. Sophie kept screaming, "Stop." I told Mom maybe quit, but she said Sophie needs toughening. The space closed in, hot and confining. Sophie's sobs soaked my dress. 5 years nurturing her self-assurance shattered by supposed loved ones. Fury uncoiled deep. This transcended hair, it was control malice. And decades of excusing that let Rebecca think she could injure a kid without fallout. I rose gradually, keeping Sophie near. The hallway parted as I carried her down, resolve firm on next steps. "Where are you heading, Rebecca?" Called, phone still up. "Don't spoil things. Dinner time." I disregarded prioritizing Sophie's safety. She clung, hiding under the towel body, trembling. Emily, overreacting, Eleanor followed. Rebecca meant no harm. Silly prank. At the stairs base, I faced her levelly. "A prank's a fake bug, Mom." "This is assault." They held her down as she screamed. The gathering halted, all eyes on us. Susan joined, gasping at Sophie's head. "My God," she whispered, hand gentle on Sophie's back. "Poor dear." Rebecca descended casually, still filming. Video's got 20 likes in chat. Everyone finds it funny. Something broke. I passed Sophie to Susan, advancing. "Hand over the phone, Rebecca, now." "No chance." She laughed, lifting it high. "This is gold. Maybe viral spoiled kid gets check." I reached, but she evaded, cackling. "Can't handle a joke. Your little royal will manage. Unlike some, overshadowed, never enough." "This isn't our old grudges," I hissed. "It's you assaulting my daughter." Assault, Rebecca scoffed. Melodramatic. Unwanted haircut. Held her as she begged. "Teach her less attachment to looks. World doesn't orbit her." Eleanor intervened. "Enough. Ruining the event. Emily, clean Sophie up in the powder room. Rebecca, phone away. We'll dine civilly." "You expect us to stay?" I stared disbelievingly. "Of course. I cooked all day." Behind Rebecca showed the video to cousins, some smirking at Sophie's distress, the last trigger. "Take her out," I told Susan. "I'll grab our stuff." As Susan guided sobbing Sophie to the door, I faced Rebecca again. She gloated, replaying to David, who shook his head. "See the scream, drama queen." In 3 strides, I slapped her hard phone flying. Silence fell. Her hand-to-cheek eyes wide in shock, briefly fearful. "You mad woman. If you near my daughter again," I said steadily, "or share that video, I'll charge assault on minor, get restraining order, expose you fully." I grabbed the phone, deleted the video, tossed it back. "Can't erase it," she smirked, recovering. "Cloud saved." Then explained to police uploading child assault proof. Eleanor fussed over Rebecca's cheek. "How dare you strike your sister here, after all we've done for you and that child?" What exactly for Sophie Mom ignored to mean now? Defend her attacker. "Don't act superior," Eleanor snapped. "This is why no one wanted that bastard child in the family. Drama source since your pregnancy announcement." The room tensed, a buried secret aired. Robert stepped up pale. Eleanor, stop. The blow hit hard. "What did you say?" "You heard." We knew Michael doubted paternity. Why his distance? But we accepted despite the shame. Mom untrue, Rebecca interjected uneasy, even she shocked. Michael implied it to me. Why else leave Eleanor persisted. He didn't abandon. We drifted apart post-marriage conception. Sees her bi-weekly video now since Portland 6 months ago. Not lately, Eleanor countered. Convenient omission. True work move halted visits, but she twisted it uglily. Whatever lies you tell yourself, Sophie's his. Even if not, she's mine, your granddaughter. You've shown you don't deserve her. Rebecca blocked my path, smug returning. Always the victim, Saint Emily. But truth's out. No wonder so protective, guilty. I met her eyes, feeling pity. You're consumed by bitterness, assaulting an 8-year-old. What does that reveal about you? I'm unafraid to claim what's mine, she retorted. Unlike you hiding behind your daughter in your empty life. Robert separated us. Enough, Rebecca. Emily, take Sophie home. Talk later. Susan returned with Sophie's bag. As I collected things, Eleanor and Rebecca whispered heatedly. Jason stood awkwardly. Sorry, he murmured. Didn't know she'd do that. Would have stopped. But you knew the Clippers. Suspected something. He looked away, confirming. Fought for me, save money, since job loss. Doesn't excuse. I know, wrong. I'll speak to her. Doubtful, but I lacked energy. Goodbye, Jason. Eleanor tried salvaging. Leave now, don't return. Loyalty matters to some. Surveying the silent relatives, some ashamed, others defiant, Robert torn, I replied, loyalty, this is it. From my view, it's protecting the vulnerable, opposing cruelty, not enabling. With that, I exited, door closing firmly. Leaving that chaotic scene behind marked the start of drawing firm lines. I'd long avoided prioritizing Sophie's healing over any illusion of family unity. The drive home through the fading light felt like escaping a storm, though the real work of protection was just beginning. In the car, Sophie huddled in the passenger seat, a blanket from the trunk draped over her, concealing her head. Her eyes were swollen from tears, face splotchy and drained. I'm sorry, Mommy, she murmured as I started the engine. I tried stopping them, but they were stronger. My heart fractured again. Baby, this isn't your fault at all. Nothing to apologize for. As we pulled away, I glimpsed Eleanor and Rebecca watching from the window. For the first time, cold resolve replaced any lingering attachment I drove from my childhood home without regret. The ride was mostly silent, broken by Sophie's sniffles. She kept the blanket tight, refusing to glance out at stops. What if people see me, she whispered. There's no shame in your appearance, I assured, though it pained me, knowing her self-image was shattered. But keep it, if it comforts you now. By our driveway, sunset cast a warm glow on our modest sanctuary, the garden, the porch chimes never more welcoming. I never want to go back, Sophie said as I unlocked the door. You won't if you don't wish I vowed. Not ever. Inside, she went straight to the bathroom. I followed, concerned about her reaction to the mirror. She stood there slowly, dropping the blanket fingers, tracing the rough stubble where her lovely hair once was. I look weird, like an alien, she whispered, tears rising fresh. I knelt beside her. You look like my brave, beautiful girl who endured something awful today. I'm so sorry I couldn't shield you. Why did Aunt Rebecca do it? Her voice small, bewildered. Does she hate me? Explaining grown-up envy and spite to a child felt impossible. Your aunt carries her own inner troubles. I chose words carefully. This isn't about you. Some hurt others when unhappy inside. And Grandma said a bad word about me. Bastard child, what's that? Rage flared, but I contained it for her. An old unkind term that's false. Grandma was wrong to use it wrong about everything today. Sophie faced me, seeming older suddenly. Are they still our family? Do I have to call them Grandma, Grandpa, Aunt Rebecca? No, I said resolutely. Family isn't only blood. True family shows love and respect. They don't harm on purpose. I drew her a bath, adding her favorite lavender bubbles. As she soaked, I made 3 key calls. First to Sarah, my lawyer friend. They did what she exclaimed at the account. Emily, that's assault on a minor. File a police report right away. I will, I promised. But Sophie's priority now. Second, Dr. Carter, the child psychologist Sophie, saw briefly post-divorce. She slotted us for Monday morning. Document all she advised. Photos of her head note, events fresh. Family betrayal like this can deeply wound. Third, Michael. Despite Eleanor's falsehoods, he'd never questioned paternity. Our split was mutual drifting. Now in Portland, he stayed connected via weekly video calls and visits. Hearing the details, fury edged his voice. Booking a flight now, there tomorrow. They won't approach our daughter again. By call's end, Sophie had emerged from the bath in her cherished pajamas, looking adrift on her bed. Can I sleep with you tonight? Of course. As we snuggled in my bed, my phone vibrated, Eleanor, Robert, even Rebecca. I powered it off. Tomorrow, for fallout. Tonight, comfort. What about school? She whispered in the dark. They'll laugh. We'll handle it, I assured. Maybe a pretty scarf or hat a while. Or embrace the look, show your bravery. I'll be with you either way. I'm not brave, her voice cracked. I cried and screamed when they held me. Bravery isn't no fear, it's pushing on despite hurt. You're the bravest I know. She drifted off exhausted. I stayed awake, mind mapping actions, no more tolerating toxicity for harmony's sake, no exposing Sophie to boundary ignorers. Morning's doorbell at 7:30 wasn't surprising. Easing from Sophie's sleeping form, I answered, expecting who stood there. Eleanor and Robert looked weary, anxious. Robert held a gift bag with tissue peeking out. What do you want? I asked, not inviting in. We must talk, Eleanor said, less commanding. Things spiraled yesterday. Spiraled, your daughter assaulted my granddaughter. Please, Emily, Robert interjected. Hear us. Brought something for Sophie. He extended the bag. Inside, a costly blonde wig nestled in paper. This fixes it, I questioned, voice low to avoid waking her. A beginning, Eleanor offered. We regret what happened. Do you yesterday defending Rebecca, insulting Sophie? Eleanor looked abashed. I was heated, said unmeant things. Like calling her bastard, doubting paternity, seemed long brewed. I was wrong, she admitted, strained. Sorry. Under other circumstances, this rare apology from proud Eleanor might sway me, but not now. Where's Rebecca regretful too? They glanced. She's facing outcomes, Robert said measuredly, meaning Eleanor sighed. Someone posted the video online. A former colleague saw, it spreads fast, comments harsh, interviews canceled. Vindication mixed with worry over public video. I don't want Sophie exposed. Take it down. Trying, Eleanor assured, but shared hundreds. Rebecca's crushed. Rebecca crushed. What of Sophie? The child restrained and violated by trusted kin. We know she's the victim, Robert said softly. Yet their visit's core emerged, not mainly Sophie's pain, but salvaging Rebecca. What are you really asking? Make a statement, Eleanor urged. Call it family mix-up. Escalated. Don't let it ruin her career. I stared speechless momentarily. Publicly forgive to shield her from consequences for harming Sophie. She's your sister, Eleanor pleaded. Family, despite all. She held down my child, shaved her, while filming terror for amusement. And you want my help? Please, Robert added. Terrible error, but backlash could destroy her. At 35, I'd spent life appeasing, excusing pranks, accepting favoritism, enduring slights for unity. But their porch plea prioritizing Rebecca's rep over Sophie's trauma severed final ties. Won't aid her dodging accountability, I stated firmly. Filing report today, consulting on restraining order. You jail your sister over a haircut, Eleanor asked. Hold an adult responsible for child assault. Being sister worsens it. Think of family impact, she insisted. I am my family's Sophie, who matters most. We're family too, Robert said quietly. Sadness wash not for me, but lost potential. You chose yesterday defending Rebecca over protecting Sophie. We're making amends, Eleanor pressed. No fixing for Rebecca. Difference. I returned the bag. Sophie needs no wig, needs loving, protective kin. If you become that, we talk, until leave us be. I shut the door gently, leaning against it as their urgent whispers faded, then departed. Turning, Sophie stood in pajamas, head exposed. Grandma and Grandpa, yes, brought a gift, but I sent them away. Okay? She nodded. Don't want their gifts, just no more scared. I hugged her. You won't. Things change now, promise. Holding her, I knew it wasn't hollow. Yesterday broke cycles, not just with them, but in me. Our well-being first, always. The morning after that tense doorstep exchange opened a week of proactive steps to safeguard Sophie and ensure accountability shifting from immediate crisis to structured recovery. Standing on the porch with its familiar wind chimes, I braced for the day's demands, knowing healing required consistency and support. Eleanor and Robert's visit had confirmed my boundaries, but the fallout from the videos spread added layers. Someone at the gathering had shared it online, and by now, it circulated widely. I didn't want Sophie's trauma publicized, yet the backlash against Rebecca offered some unintended justice. First, the police station. We arrived Monday morning where officers photographed Sophie's shaved head and took her statement about being held down against her will. Will Aunt Rebecca go to jail? Sophie asked as we left. I don't know, sweetheart, I answered truthfully. But her actions were wrong, and consequences are needed to prevent hurting other kids. Next, Dr. Carter's office. She welcomed Sophie, warmly complimenting the colorful scarf I'd helped wrap around her head that day. That scarf highlights your eyes beautifully. Sophie offered a faint smile, her first since the incident. For an hour, Dr. Carter spoke with her privately while I waited anxiously. Afterward, she briefed me as Sophie drew in the reception area. She's dealing with major trauma, Dr. Carter explained. Physical restraint by family violation of her body being filmed in vulnerability. These are deep trust breaches. What helps her most, I asked, tears threatening. You're already on it, she reassured. Removed her from harm, pursuing accountability, seeking professional aid. She needs time routine and constant assurance of safety and love. Dr. Carter suggested weekly sessions and a child support group for family trauma. She also provided tips for school return. Kids can be harsh on looks, but with guidance, they're often supportive. That afternoon, I met Sophie's elementary school principal and counselor. They were appalled by the story and pledged help. We can lead a class talk on respecting differences before she comes back, the counselor proposed, without spotlighting her prepping classmates for kindness. Our no bullying rule is strict, the principal added. Any teasing faces quick action. Their backing contrasted sharply with family betrayal bolstering my resolve. By Wednesday, Sophie felt prepared to return equipped with scarves and hats I'd bought. Surprisingly, her friend Ava showed up at our door that morning with a fresh buzz cut. My mom let me do it, so Sophie's not alone, Ava beamed. Do we match? Sophie's eyes welled, but with gratitude this time. She unwrapped her scarf, showing the stubble. We do, she affirmed, clasping Ava's hand. While Sophie was at school, I consulted Sarah again on legal paths. Police report solid start, she said. Recommend a temporary restraining order against Rebecca. With evidence, a judge will approve. And my parents, no threats from them, so no grounds. But as mom, you control access to Sophie. News spread further by Thursday. An unknown number called a reporter from a local paper. We've seen reports of your family incident going viral. Your side, no comment, I said firmly. Respect my daughter's privacy. She's a minor who's suffered enough. I get it, she sympathized. But the videos, over 50,000 views. Folks dub your sister the haircut horror aunt to shape the story I hung up checking social media. Horrified, the clip had exploded comments condemning Rebecca. Public support for Sophie touched me, but strangers viewing her pain sickened. I called Sarah. Can we remove it? We'll try. Cease and desist to platforms, she replied. But online, it's tough to erase fully. Evening brought an unexpected call from Jason. I've moved out, he stated bluntly. What Rebecca did is unforgivable. Can't stay with someone who'd harm a child. Stunned, I responded, sorry, Jason. Must be hard. Don't apologize, he said resolutely. Should have intervened sooner. Knew her behavior wasn't right, but excused it. The viral video woke me. I've enabled, like your parents. He added before ending, gave police a statement backing Sophie's version, want to do right. Friday, surprise with Susan on the porch basket of Sophie's favorite cookies and art supplies. I should have done more that day, she said as I welcomed her. Stopped Rebecca somehow. You helped us leave that mattered, I reminded. She shook her head sadly. Not enough. I've tolerated Eleanor and Rebecca too long prioritizing peace over truth. Taking my hand, that stops. You and Sophie have family who knows right from wrong standing by you. Her words brought tears, means everything, thank you. The weekend amplified progress. Michael arrived from Portland, staying at a nearby hotel, but spending days with us. His presence added security and normalcy, aiding Sophie's mend. Michael's arrival from Portland kicked off a weekend of bolstering support and facing the unfolding consequences for Rebecca, blending emotional rebuilding with the quiet unfolding of justice. At our modest home near Chicago, his presence provided a steady anchor, helping Sophie regain a sense of normalcy amid the turmoil. Together, Michael and I took Sophie to a salon specializing in children's hair. The stylist, Lisa, examined the uneven stubble with kindness. We can shape this into a cute pixie cut, she suggested. And I've got soothing oil for the scalp. Sophie hesitated. Will I still look like a girl? The most stylish one, Lisa assured, showing photos of female celebrities with short hair. Lots choose it for that chic vibe. It doesn't define femininity. When done, Sophie eyed her reflection cautiously but approvingly. It's kind of cool, she decided, turning to view angles. Feels nice to touch. Highlights your beautiful eyes, Michael told her. Perfect for summer swims. Sunday evening, as Michael prepped to head back with promises of daily calls and summer visits, my phone rang. Robert, his voice sounded wearier than ever. Emily, I need to speak not about Rebecca, about my failures with you and Sophie. His vulnerability surprised me. Dad, I've avoided conflicts my whole life, calling it peace when it was cowardice, he continued. Let Eleanor favor Rebecca, let her bully you, now hurt Sophie. I sat unprepared for this introspection from my conflict-averse father. Eleanor and I are in counseling separate and joint. No quick forgiveness expected, maybe none, but I'm confronting our dynamics. So sorry, Emily, for it all. By Monday, a week post-incident, the world felt transformed. Helping Sophie ready for school, adjusting her favorite beret over the new pixie, we both stood taller. Challenges lay ahead, court therapy talks, but my boundaries were clear. Commitment to Sophie's protection unwavering. Generational patterns shattered painfully, but decisively birthing healthier growth. The weekend following the reporter's call and Susan's visit deepened our support network, while Rebecca's repercussions unfolded steadily, embodying a form of subdued justice that prioritized healing over spectacle. In our modest home near Chicago, with its garden and porch chimes providing a calm backdrop, we navigated these developments with growing resilience. Michael and I escorted Sophie to a salon focused on kids' hair. Lisa, the gentle stylist, assessed the patchy stubble. Let's even this to a fun pixie, she proposed, plus healing oil for comfort. Sophie wavered. Still a girl look, absolutely the chikest, Lisa encouraged, displaying images of women celebrities with short styles. Many pick it for that empowered feel. Hair length doesn't define you. Finished, Sophie turned her head appraisingly in the mirror. Actually pretty cool, she concluded. Light when I move. Shows off your lovely eyes, Michael added. Great for pool days. That evening, as Michael readied for his return flight with vows of everyday contact and summer trips, Robert called voice heavy with fatigue. Emily, let's talk not Rebecca, my own shortcomings toward you and Sophie. His openness caught me off guard. I've dodged fights forever, labeling it harmony when it's spinelessness, he admitted. Allowed Eleanor's bias, Rebecca's torment of you now, Sophie's pain. Unready for such candor from my avoidant dad, I listened. Eleanor and I attend counseling alone and joint. Don't seek instant pardon, perhaps none, but facing truths about our setup. Profoundly sorry, Emily. Monday dawned, marking 1 week since the ordeal. The landscape altered profoundly. As I adjusted Sophie's beret over her pixie for school, our postures reflected newfound strength. Ahead lay proceedings, sessions, potential strife, but boundaries stood firm, my safeguard of Sophie unyielding. Ancestral cycles fractured harshly, yet irrevocably fostering robust renewal. As the months unfolded, the raw edges of that day softened, though the lessons etched deep. We'd transformed betrayal into a foundation of strength, proving that boundaries aren't walls, but bridges to peace. True family emerges not from shared blood, but mutual care, a truth that guided our every choice. Healing isn't linear, but possible. It demands courage to release what's broken and embrace what's whole. For anyone facing similar shadows, remember your well-being is the ultimate act of love. If this journey sparked reflection, drop your thoughts below. Have you redefined family in your life? Like, subscribe for more stories of resilience, and share with a friend who needs this reminder. Until next time, hold your truths close.